a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody. Welcome to episode number 227 of Sports Cards Live. It's Saturday night, June the 1st, 2024. My name is Jeremy Lee. Last weekend, I was at the Montreal Expo. Had a great time. Had a blast seeing everyone there. Thank you to everyone that came by and that I made deals with and everyone that I got to talk to. That was great. Next Saturday on Sports Cards Live here on the show, we have Jay Mosley, also known as Mojo Sports, will be our guest. It'll be a fun show. Please join us also next Saturday. Tomorrow night, PWCC Weekly Hockey Auction Ending Watch Party with Josh Madigan from the Hockey Guards Gong Show. We'll be back on these airwaves. Everybody, I would like to let you know that Filth Bomb Breaks offers live case and box breaks, and they do so with responsibility and integrity. If you enjoy group breaks and you are looking for a professional company to break with, check out Filth Bomb, streaming on Fanatics Live on 4 channels, 7 days per week. I would like to shout out hobbynewsdaily.com. Check them out for your daily dose of hobby information. And also Leighton Sheldon, Just Collect. Leighton, unfortunately, will not be joining us for the Vintage Spotlight tonight, but hopefully he will be back with us again next week. And if you value transparency, accuracy, and consistency in card grading, visit taggrading.com. Also, I want to let you know, we now have a new website, sportscardslive.com. Very simple. Got the domain name. Check it out. I'm writing a blog every so often on there as well. Please subscribe to the blog. And also remember, this podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Please follow and subscribe for free. And please leave a rating and review on your podcast platform. We would greatly appreciate that. Thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers, listeners, podcast listeners for your ongoing support. If you are not yet subscribed, please take a moment and do so. Let's get to tonight's show. Tonight's guest started in the hobby in 2011 when, for his 10th birthday, he got the New York Rangers team set of Score hockey cards. In 2019, in his freshman year of college, he started buying Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna rookie cards to flip, and he started FundYourCards in the summer of 2023. His favorite players of all time were Henrik Lundqvist, Igor Shesterkin, and Lionel Messi. And his favorite teams are the New York Rangers, the New York Knicks, and the Chelsea Soccer Club. He's originally and currently hailing out of Queens, New York. Let's bring him out. Mark Saidov, welcome to Sports Cards Live. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good night, and thank you for having me, Jeremy.
You are welcome, Mark. It is great to have you. We've been planning this for a little while. I'm glad that we are finally able to make it happen. So welcome to the show. You know, you and I, we've crossed paths over the last few years. I remember seeing you at the first Burbank show. I remember seeing you there at the booth. And I feel like I've seen you at several nationals and maybe other Burbank shows since then. So good to have you. I'm just going to ask you your thoughts on, just to kick this off, your thoughts on kind of the card show scene right now, your presence at them. Have you been to any shows lately? Are you going to be going to any in the next few weeks here?
So the last show I actually went to was the National. I haven't been able to go to any shows recently. But from what I'm seeing, there's a lot more action compared to, let's say, a year or two ago. A lot more people are buying cards, trading. I feel like dealers are, when it comes to selling, they're more aggressive now. They're not that easy to like buy from, because they feel like they could get good prices, and they're not as desperate as they were when the market was going down more. But yeah, I'm going to be at the next National, and we'll be offering FundYourCards there, and I'll be set on. I might set up. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see.
See if you can get a booth. How hard is it right now, or do you know how hard it is to actually get table space at the Cleveland National that's upcoming here?
Yeah, I've been to, I believe, 2 Nationals now, and it's been hard every year, but thankfully I've been able to get a table or split a table with a friend. So hopefully that can happen again this year.
Always nice when you can make that happen. So you started in the hobby when you were, 10 years old or so. And as I just mentioned, back in about 2019, you started buying Acuna cards and Soto cards. And were you buying those really just to flip them, to try and get into the hobby, build up a bit of a war chest? What was your goal when you kind of reactivated your hobby passion at that time?
Yeah, so when I was, like I said, when I was a kid, I had no knowledge of like the values of cards. So I was just doing it for pure passion. I like collecting my favorite players or my favorite sports. And during my freshman year and like before that, I was in like I would buy and sell sneakers. So in one of my sneaker group chats, like cards started becoming more and more popular. I remember that's when like Gary V started posting about it. So a few people in the group chats would start posting about cards and like the important rookies and like just I guess I started learning about it, so I started buying cards just strictly to flip, and then like I think around in March, I don't know, whenever COVID began, that's when I really started to buy a lot of cards because I remember the market sank, so I started buying
So
Luka prisms, Giannis prisms, that type of stuff.
right, yeah, all those great commodity cards. So I remember when, during the real bull run of the pandemic, there was a lot of speculation, and I think a lot of it was based on fact that a lot of sneakerheads were coming into the sports card hobby because they saw opportunity. So were you like one of those guys that came? Are you evident? It's not like we need evidence. We know it happened, but are you evidence that happened? And are you sort of able to describe to us the depth upon which, or the magnitude upon which, sneaker heads came into sports cards?
Yeah, so like I know a lot of like we had, for example, we used to have like group chats for just strictly sneakers, like what sneakers were releasing, and then a few people within those group chats started making like groups with like thousands of people specifically for buying and selling cards and like educating people. So there was a huge shift and a lot of like I know I have a lot of friends that dropped out of doing sneakers and now they either collect cards or they're still buying and sell cards, and it's been like 5 years now. So there was a huge shift and they're still in it, a lot of them.
That's good. Well, it's nice to know that a lot of them stuck around. You've stuck around. So where do you fit now between sneakers and sports cards? Are you still doing sneakers? Have you did transitioning to sports cards reignite the passion you had as a kid when you didn't care about values or know about values, and keep you here mostly focused on sports cards versus
Yeah, no,
sneakers?
now I'm fully focused on sports cards. Like I really enjoy it, and especially like after starting FundYourCards, like I get to see many, many, many nice cards, and just like I I didn't have that opportunity before. I'm seeing a lot more variety. It's a lot more fun now, and yeah, I've been really enjoying it.
Right on. Well, I remember when I first learned about Fund Your Cards, and I knew of you from your Empire Sports Cards Instagram account, as well as from meeting you at the Burbank show. I was also familiar with your ex partner Shay. Went by Shayway Vlogs, who you're no longer partnered with. I'm going to just ask you that right away. Shay was a bit of a, I don't know what to call him. He had an account that had a lot of followers on Instagram. You were partnered with him. Whatever happened there, and do you know how he's doing now?
So first off, I haven't really been in contact with him for the past like 3 to 4 months, but the situation was he bid on his own cards, and we didn't see eye to eye how to get out of that situation or how to resolve that situation. So we had to split, and that's just the situation at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, best regards to Shayway Vlogs if he's out there somewhere. Back to you. So then you mentioned you ended up starting Fund Your Cards. So whenever I have an entrepreneur on the show, I'm always curious as to, what was the moment that you realized there was an opportunity? How did you identify the opportunity in the first place? And then we have to ask you, what is Fund Your Cards? So answer all that, please, if you don't mind.
So I had one of my good friends and one of my clients. I had a very expensive Messi card. It was around 90,000, and then I had a Lewis Hamilton card, which is around 60,000. So he wanted to do a trade deal with me, but we didn't agree on the values of the cards that he was offering to me, or he had like a lot of cheaper cards that I didn't really want to deal with. So we basically set up a structure where whatever the cards that he sends in, whatever they net or whatever they sell for, that will be applied to his tab that he owes me for the price that we agreed to the two cards. So that worked out really well. He was able to get the two cards that he wanted, and I was able to move like hundreds of cards of his. And then we I offered this to another one of my clients, and like I saw that it was working as well, where I would buy like a nice card for him or whatever he wanted, and he would send in cards, and I would just charge a 10% fee on top of the purchase price.
And so it was actually doing these types of transactions in the first place that gave you the idea. So after you did these deals, how did you go from helping out this client of yours to launching a business around that type of service?
Honestly, I didn't know if we're gonna have a lot of demand for the service, so it was kind of like it's working with 2-3 guys or 2-3 clients that I had. So I may as well just throw it out there to the public. So that's what I did, and we started the company, and we saw that during that time, a lot of people wanted to consolidate into higher end cards or into nicer cards, and we have like clients who are doing 6-figure deals, but they're sending in $50 cards, $25 cards, $100 cards, and like hundreds of them or thousands of them, and we're able to turn that into a huge Grail piece, and that no one was offering that in the hobby at the time.
Wow. So that it was really as simple as that. You're helping out a couple friends. You figured, let's see if anyone else wants it. And when you put it out there to the marketplace, to the hobby community, did you do that exclusively via Instagram, or did you do it on any other platforms, any other advertising?
So initially, I have a pretty decent following on Instagram. So we started on Instagram initially, and now we built out a website a few months later. So all the information is there if you ever want to check it out, like how the process works, etc.
FundYourCards.com,
Yeah,
is that the website?
FundYourCards.com. Yep.
FundYourCards.com for anybody watching, listening who'd like to check out Mark's website for his company. So you put it out there. Tell us about the response. How long did it take? How many clients did you get right away? How's the growth been?
Thank God the growth has been really good. And initially, I remember that summer, we did a huge deal. We had to fly out to PwC. We bought a card for a client, and then we flew it over to his house in California. And that's like that deal gave us like the publicity, and we got to meet our client. He gave us a few hundred cards, and that like put the word of Fund Your Cards out there. And I'm very happy to say that a lot of our clients also put out a good word for us. So it's been spreading between collectors that way as well.
Now, so Fund Your Cards, if I understand, is quite simply you have a client wants to buy a big card at auction, let's say, like tonight on the Goldin 100. They might not have the money to do it, but they have the cards. So they say to you, hey, Mark, there's a card ending tonight. I want you to buy it for me. I want you to bid up to X amount of dollars. And if you win it and you send it to me, I'm going to give you all these cards in exchange for it. Now, how do you protect your downside? What if the cards that they send you, what if you spend 50 grand on a card for somebody on Goldin tonight, and then the cards that you agree to take only get you 45,000? How do you absorb that loss, or how do you protect against that?
So this is how Fund Your Cards work. Let's say that we buy a card tonight for $50,000. We charge a 10% fee. So you'd owe us 55,000. So before a client send in cards, they usually send us photos of the cards. I evaluate everything. And once they come in, we start selling them. We either do it privately, or if they don't sell privately, they'll go to eBay, PWCC, Goldin, etc. So after the cards are sold, if we net 55,000, then the client gets their card. If we net below that, the client can either send in additional cards, or they could supplement that with cash. But if we net over that amount, the client gets that money back.
And so track record wise, and I'm almost curious how good you are at evaluating the client's cards that they're trading you. You know, what percentage of the time have you had to have a client say top up your proceeds?
So top up would mean that we're sending it back, or they're giving us.
They owe you more money or more cards to get to your 1.0, your 1.1 return, your 10% return.
So for the most part, usually like some clients send in less, which I understand, because like a lot of them, they're sending in cards that they still like. They PC, it's not like cards that they don't care about, so they want to see how much we'll raise using just these cards. So for the clients that send in like the full amount right away, we usually cover it, or within 5% where they have to add. Like recently we had a situation where me and the client both valued the card at $1,000. It ended up selling at auction for $4,000. So we ended up owing the client money back, and he still has like more than 10 cards to sell. So like situations like that happen all the time.
Yeah, that was my next question is what if you get more than your 10%? Do you give the excess back to the client, or is there, so there's really no upside, but there's also no downside. You are guaranteed your 10% fee on whatever you fund on behalf, whatever card or cards you fund for your client to receive. There's no risk to you, but as well as there being no risk, there's also no upside that you could ever earn more than 10%. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. That's correct.
So it's a pretty interesting model. And how do your clients feel in essence about having to pay 10%? Like a card tonight on Goldin 100 might be worth 50,000, when it's all said and done, or that's what it'll sell for, but they're going to have to pay 55 for it. How do your clients justify in their mind paying a 10% premium over what the card literally sells? It's almost like there's two comps happening here, right? There's the comp that you're setting for buying it at auction for your client, and then there's the comp that you're also setting for trading it for their cards at a value of 10% over what you purchased it for. That's kind of, I haven't considered that. Have you thought about that and the impact of it? Ever had any discussions about that, and how do you look at this?
So this is like, I look at it also from like our client situation. Let's say that you want a card that's ending tonight, correct, for 50,000. If you were to sell say your max bid is 50,000. If you were to sell your cards in preparation for winning that card, but then you end up losing, then you sold your collection and you have nothing to show for it. And if it's a rare card, you probably might not have another opportunity to get it. But for our clients, like if we win the card, our clients worry about, in a sense, they worry about it later. You don't have to rush to sell your cards, because selling a card takes, if you send it to auction, it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get your funds, at least 2 weeks usually. So we do all the work for them after, and they're at peace of mind that they already got the card that they wanted.
So yeah, I mean, I guess there's the convenience, right? You're helping them out. You're basically, like the name says, you're funding the purchase until they can make up for it with you. They don't have to have the cash on hand. So a card could come up somewhere, wherever it might be, and they want to make a play at it quickly. So they're going to say, hey, Mark, I need you to put up 50K right away or more. And you offer them that ability to basically buy the card for them and let them pay you back later, plus 10%. So that's really interesting. And I can see how it's taken off in popularity recently. I mean, has there been any competition for you? What was Investicard doing when Eddie Siegel was his name from Investicard? What was he doing? Was it different? And how did you look at what he was up to? Did you try to improve upon his model, or was it similar?
So with Investicard, I believe that they would, let's say you gave them $100,000 worth of cards, they would give you a loan against it, and you could go do whatever you want with that money. We don't give any loans. Like, you cannot send me $100,000 worth of cards and I'm going to give you a $50,000 loan where you could do whatever you want. We just buy. If you want a card, we'll buy the card. Or we've had a situation where we funded a Lamborghini overseas, so that was like a different situation. But like, we did that with a client that I know really well and I trust him because I couldn't have the car in my possession. So we've had situations like that as well.
Now, in order to buy these cards, you need to have some capital. You need a float, really, to be able to go out and buy. Like, what kind of, I'm going to ask, you don't have to answer, but what kind of capital are you working with here? Like, what if 10 people came to you after this show tonight and said, hey, Mark, I got a card I need you to buy for me for $100,000, and all of a sudden you've got a capital call or requirements of $1 million. Are you working with lines of credit? Is it just business money now? How are you funding the funding?
So at the moment, we're working with just the business money that I've made in the last few years. But if we've had deals that were very large and we needed to get the capital, we could get the capital quickly.
You can get the capital. You have access to it if you need it. Yeah. Fair enough. All right, let's go to some comments. Let's say hello to everybody who has joined us. Matthew, 1956 Tops Guy. Appreciate the compliment. Says best live show in the hobby. Matthew, congratulations on your 33 DeLong Lou Gehrig that you just showed today. Very beautiful card. Yitz is in the house. What's going on, Yitz? Good to see you. Dylan Rantucci, what's going on, my friend? Jeff McMahon is here. Jacob Dahl is here. Penguins collector. Foul 5 ball. Colin Murray is here. Guys, I want to shout out Colin Murray. Hockey Card Exchange. He may be setting up at the Detroit Spectacular next week. If he is, go see him. I picked up one of my favorite cards from the Montreal Expo from Colin and Otto at the Hockey Cards Exchange booth. Go visit them for any vintage hockey needs that you may have at any show. He's always got a whole row at the Expo. I don't know if you know him, Mark, but these guys do you know who he is?
No, I don't. I don't.
You got to get up to the Expo in Toronto one time, Mark, and you can't miss Colin at his booth there. Brad Winter says, great idea for Fund Your Cards. Tom Fagey says, who sets the price on private deals? Well, it's the two people. I was pretty much negotiating on two different cards on Instagram today, and we go back and forth. Here's a few comps. Here's what I think it's worth. Here's my offer. And he says, well, I was negotiating on a $70 card today. I said, I'll pay. My offer would be 60. He said, I was thinking 70. I go, fine. 70 is good. Let's do the deal at 70. That's who sets the price of private deals, the private parties who are negotiating, unless there's a helper, a middleman. And we're going to talk about that Jordan Star 101 PSA 9 sale tonight as well, Tom. And Mark, I'm looking forward to talking about that with you. Todd McDonald, good evening. The Professor, good evening to you. Troy Sauer says, I've worked with Mark on multiple consolidation and big deals. Nothing but a super professional experience, and his service are a hidden gem of the hobby. Well, that's really nice to hear. Troy, there you go. Mark, very nice. Mike Double V, good to see you, pal. Pancake Analytics, good evening to you. Previous guest on Sports Cards Live, Cardboard Trap House, hello to you. Jeff McMahon says, I would love to, Jeff, I'd love to come to the Detroit Spectacular one of these years. Cardboard Corner, welcome to the show. And Mariano Escobar says, I worked with Mark and he is awesome, very friendly to deal with. And Colin Murray says, 10 booths at Expo, baby, 10 booths they have. I go in with one, they get 10. That's a big area. Hockey Cards Exchange, everybody, at whatever shows you may be at that they are at as well. All right, Mark, let's pick up a little bit where we left off. We were talking about capital. You've got good access. Let me ask you this, how many deals have you done so far? And these are questions you don't necessarily have to answer. They're private business questions. I'm going to ask you answer however you'd like. Maybe how many deals are you entertaining every week or every month? You started with one deal, now one deal in a month. Now you're doing how many? Give us an idea of the volume.
Just a quick thing. Is it okay if I answer one of the private price questions? I think he meant something else. So let's say a client, we sends in our cards. And so my rule is that anything that's above $100 to $150, I like to offer on Instagram first. Or if it's like a cheaper card, but it's unique, like a nice auto or a nice patch auto, I'll sell it privately. So what I do is that I'll price up all the cards with a listing price and a bottom price because people like to negotiate. And then the client either approves it or makes changes. So that's how we determine the price, and that's what it gets listed for on Instagram.
So so that's how you determine what you're going to sell the cards for that you're bringing in from your consolidating client. But then the person that determines the price on the cards that you're buying for your client is really auction, just the open market. Let me ask you this too. Are you buying for your clients all the cards at auction, or are you buying some cards for your clients in other private deals off of private individuals?
No, we work a lot with it's a lot of it's like I would say maybe like 30 to 40% of it is privately. So either like let's say a client tells me that they're looking for a certain card, so I'll reach out to my PwC rep, my Goldin rep, or other like prominent dealers in the hobby. Or let's say I know that a collector collects this player, so I'll ask him if he's willing to sell it or if he knows where to find one. So we do a lot of deals privately as well.
All right. Well, good to know. And now let's go back to the question I asked a bit earlier there is, what's volume like for you guys? How's the growth been?
So we usually do 5 to 7 deals a week if there's no auctions going on. But when there's auctions going on, it gets a lot busier. So most likely like Golden Elite is ending next week, or when PwC Premier ends, we're doing like multiple deals a day.
What, really? Wow. Yeah. I'm impressed. I'm happy for you. That's impressive that it's that many deals a week. So it sounds like, is this a business that you hope to be your main source of income for the foreseeable future?
I don't know. What I like about this business is that it doesn't take up all of my time, and it just like it could run. So, but now I'm planning to apply to dental school this upcoming year. So that's gonna be.
Oh, here comes another dentist into the hobby, everybody. Here comes another dentist. There you go. Okay, who else is involved in Fund Your Cards with you? You had Shay Rahman with you for a while. He's no longer in. Did you replace him? Who is in the company?
And so we hired our first employee. So he handles all of like listing everything on Instagram, films all the videos, logs everything when clients send them in. So he's the one who is managing that. But he's not really involved in the hobby. It's someone that I know personally.
Got it. Okay. Brendan Ryan asked, are any of these transactions reported to Card Ladder?
Okay, so if the client wants to keep it private, then we don't report anything. But for example, recently we had a client who we funded a lot of 90s grails for privately, and he actually asked me to report them all. So I'm going to work on that this week and get them reported.
There you go. So you are reporting some of that. Have you reported private sales to Card Ladder in the past?
Not yet. No, I haven't. Because if it's only if a client wants me to do it, then I'll do it.
Then you'll do it. Is it something like that you would say to your clients when you are first working with them? Would you like me to end up reporting this to Card Ladder? Is it part of a checklist of things you would go over with your clients? Or is it just if they mention it, you'll do it? If they don't mention it, you don't mention it?
Yeah, I'll only mention it if they mention it. Like I don't want to. If they want to stay private, they could stay private on the balance.
Yeah, I think you know what I mean. Listen, I'm not going to tell you how to run your business at all, but to me, I think it would be good if you offered it as part of your initial interview process or your initial discussion process. And I say that just because I think, well, I say that. Listen, there's a lot of talk around private sales, but it would be nice if there was a flow of real, reliable private sales that were trustworthy and that could start beefing up that database. But I guess we'll see how that goes, and if you do sort of bolster the amount that you are reporting to them. Want to say hello to Filmington. Says we have a cool guest here. Thanks, Phil. Good to see you. And Yit says, Mark the dentist, hashtag fund your dentist. Dentists don't need funding. Let's face it. Let's be real. Let's be real here. Tell us a little bit about your clients, Mark, and their collector profile. And I guess what I mean by that, are your clients collecting to hold these cards, these major grails for the long term? Are they pursuing these cards for a 3-week flip, a 3-month flip, a 1 year, a 2 year? What kind of cross section of clients do you have?
So I would say that 99% of our clients are collectors. So it's people who have like say it's like a Jordan collector. They had low end Jordans and they're finally ready to like secure a really, really big Grail piece. So they're just going to transition their lower end ones and to get the nice one that they finally wanted. So the cards that we fund rarely, I don't see them hit auction. So like it's been a year and not many of them have gone up for sale, if any. So it's going into good hands.
That's good to hear. And what's the biggest deal you've done dollar wise and amount of and number of cards that came in to you to buy that card?
So I hope that MK is okay with me mentioning that. I'm not going to say any dollar amounts, but he's sent in over 1,000 cards for certain deals.
1,000 cards.
Yeah.
And he still has a killer collection. That's MK Sports Cards on Instagram. A dentist, by the way. Yeah, very nice. That's really cool. I know he's a client of yours. So is he your best client? Is he the person who's done the most deals with you? How many repeat clients do you have? Have you had a client do 10 deals with you? Like, give us an idea of how that's been going for you. Like retention and just rebookings and more deals.
No, I'm very glad that basically all of our clients come back to us. They repeat deals. I've had clients that I've done 20 to 30 deals with, 5 deals, 10 deals. It happens a lot. So yeah.
So you're having people come back and doing deals every month even?
Yeah.
Really cool. Now, one of the bonuses of what you do, I have to imagine, is when you receive the cards from your client to now go sell for them, especially like MK sends you 1,000 cards, or somebody sends you 100 or 200 cards. That's a lot of cards to go through. Do you enjoy that? And do you ever want to buy any for yourself? And can you? How does that work?
Yeah, so I really enjoy getting in the cards, like, because some of these cards, like, we have clients where we're buying, like, let's say a $50,000 card for them, and in order to consolidate into that, they're still sending in like multi-$1,000 cards. So it's very cool to see, because those cards are still grails for other people as well. So it's very cool to see those cards and deal with those cards, to make videos and like promote them. I really enjoy doing that. And in regards to buying the cards, I haven't bought any of my clients' cards, and I don't know, I feel like a little wrong doing that, because like the goal is, like, I want to maximize what my client can get for the card when they send it in. So I don't want to be the person who determines like what to pay for that card.
But I mean, I can only listen, and maybe you're not as much of a collector as I am, but if it were me and I'm seeing all these cards come in, I know that there's going to be a couple that I'm going to want to have for myself. I'm going to want to say, hey, listen, you sent me this card. I'd really like to have it. What would you sell it to me for? Or how much can I knock off your debt to keep this card for myself? Like, you've never done that? You wouldn't want to do that?
I think the only way I'd do that is, let's say it doesn't sell privately. Maybe it goes to auction and feel like ethically better about it. But privately, like, I just don't feel right doing it at the moment.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you want to do things ethically correct. I mean, not everybody in this hobby wants to do things ethically correct. I think we all know that. Let's talk about ethics for a moment here, Mark. How do you stay ethical, and how do you maintain your reputation to be one of integrity? How do you make sure that you are protecting that? How do you keep your reputation nice and tight and trustworthy?
So yeah, I think that this business wouldn't be possible. Like, FundYourCards would not be possible without having a strong reputation, because people are trusting me with the card that I'm funding for them, and then they're also sending in additional cards. So that's a lot of money that they're trusting me with, and a lot of value. So I make sure we always take pictures of everything. We always log everything. Our clients get access to all the, like, what their cards are selling for, so they could also keep track of the numbers. So we're very open about everything, and the goal is, we always like want to maximize what our clients get. So I'm not like picking auction houses over the other auction houses. I'm trying to do it with like a fair mind, and just to make sure that our clients are happy. And I guess that's why our clients are coming back to us.
So I'm really curious. This is one of the questions I have in my notes, which is, where do you sell the cards that you bring in? Now, you've mentioned several platforms here in the last few minutes, but does your client drive the destination? Because I would think that you would know best. At this point, you use PWCC, you've mentioned Goldin, you mentioned, I know you use MC Sports Cards. How do you, like, I would think that you would know best. Do you feel that you know best where to sell different cards?
Yeah, so usually, like, most of the time, the clients rely on me to choose where they'd want their cards auctioned, and then they also provide their own input. So if they want anything changed, I'll follow what the client would like me to do. But for example, like, any cards that are under $300, we work with a consignment house on eBay called Quick Consign, and we charge a 10%. Their rate is 10% for us, so no one could beat that. So we're selling $5 cards, $10 cards, and gaining value out of it, where everyone else would charge 80% or 75%. So usually anything under $300, we send to them. If it's nice vintage, we'll send it to PWC, just because it has the potential of getting like the sticker, so that could boost its value. And like exquisite cards or soccer cards, we usually send to Goldin. And baseball and football, like nice one-of-ones or nice patch autos, we usually choose between PWC or MC. So that's how I determine it.
Okay. So, and listen, you've mentioned a bunch of companies that I'm working with, MC Sports Cards, PWCC. So that's really nice to hear. And so, and then you mentioned the lower end cards. Those are the ones that you'll put on the Instagram stories. Will you put everything on Instagram stories before you ship them off to PWCC or MC or Goldin, or will you not? Will you just bypass Instagram altogether for the big pieces?
No. So it's actually the opposite. Everything that's under $150, that value range, we send straight to eBay, just because usually if I would list it on eBay, people are not looking to pay 90 to 95% of comps for those type of cards. So we'll just do better on eBay. But everything above that, we list it on Instagram first for 5 days.
I see. Okay. Okay. So is there, and listen, I love when I see you have listed a whole bunch of stuff, because your story posts, you'll have like 30 or 50 or 100 of them all of a sudden, and you can just sort of click, 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 keep on tapping your screen until you see a card that you might be interested in. Do you do that? I would like to know, I know, for example, with Slab Sharks, that every Thursday night they list a ton of cards on their eBay store. Is there a certain day, time of the week that you list your cards? Because as a buyer of cards, as a collector, I would like to know that if I want to get an early look at the new Fund Your Cards inventory, that I need to be on my phone at this time on that day.
So we don't have anything official, but I just don't like to list cards over the weekend. So we'll usually start Monday night. Or let's say a client sends in Barry Bonds cards, and I know that I have friends or other clients that collect Barry Bonds, so I'll reach out to them first and see if they're interested in anything. So we always reach out to people that collect those type of cards to see if they're interested before we get them listed.
I really have to say I respect that and I commend it, and I wish I had the capacity, because you know what it's like when you're active in the hobby. People are always reaching out to you and saying, hey, if you see this, let me know, or when you're ready to let go of that card, keep me in mind. And I mean, I don't have a sheet on my wall of everybody who likes whatever they like. It's really hard to do that. Do you actually keep like a spreadsheet or a database of who likes what and all these contacts, or are you just that smart going to dental school here that you can remember it all in your head?
No, I don't have any spreadsheets, so I just try to remember all of it.
Really? That's impressive. That's impressive. All right. Let's go back to some comments here. Troy wants to say, it's been a long time no talk, Mark. 1956 Tops guy says, dentists already have Halloween. Bob Boozle says, Jeremy is not pulling teeth tonight. Interview is going well. Thank you, Bob Boozle. Welcome to the show. Chad Shipper, good to see you as always, buddy. CC says, good evening, gents. Mark, is there a minimum value for a customer purchase? Can you say the average value of purchases and funding that you are targeting?
Yes, so the minimum would be, just as a base, it would be $1,000, but majority of our clients, usually it's anything that's minimum $5,000 and it goes up to six figures. But let's say someone wants to buy a $500 card or $700 card, and they don't, they still need to consolidate. We're fine where if you choose multiple cards, and then we'll do it. So we do that as well.
So what's the minimum though, really, to get, if I said to you, hey, Mark, there's a $500 card ending, I think it's going to sell for X amount, or my buddy's got a card for 500, I want it, and he needs the money right away. Can you front me the money and I'll send you some cards? Is 500 worth your time to make a $50 fee?
Well, we've had those situations, but the fee is 15%, but it's very rare that we're asked to do that. That's why,
okay.
It just doesn't happen often.
It's easier to come up with $500 than it is $50K, I guess, for just about anybody, you would think. Okay. Calvin says, Mark is a true professional, best service in the hobby. Well, we got some of your fans here right now, some clients. Well, and I just want to say to you, Mark, thank you for sharing that you were coming on Sports Cards Live with your followers and clients and friends in the hobby. And I welcome all you guys to the channel, to the show. Happy to have you. And if you like what you're seeing, you want to come back, please subscribe to the channel. I'd love to add you to the audience and have you guys back. All right, Mark, Pancake Analytics says, Mark, have you ever run into a situation where a Grail card dramatically drops in price once delivered to your client? Seems like it might only happen once in a blue moon, but has anyone ever tried for a refund?
Thankfully, that has not happened yet. And like I said, the cards that we're funding, they're very rare cards, or they're collector cards. So these cards don't rarely appear, or they're I don't want to use, but most of the cards that we're funding, our clients, they believe that they're good investments, and they ask me for advice or also chime in, so we haven't had that happen. No one has defaulted.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Pancake Analytics. Rad Ripper, I'm just looking over the Instagram feed right now. Rad Ripper, watching us on IG, says, good stuff. Mark is a great one to have on the show. Glad you appreciate that, Jared. And Brendan Ryan says, Mark, have you noticed an uptick in unlicensed card requests?
So the first unlicensed card we funded, unless I'm forgetting something, was actually recent. We funded a Tyson Beck Curry auto where it was inscribed baby-faced assassin. But other than that, I haven't done any unlicensed cards yet.
All right. And Troy responds to Pancake Analytics. As a client, you're saying usually we aren't buying those grails to flip. They are chases we've been looking for years, and the opportunity has come to purchase. For me, I'm not worried about the drop. So there we go. We have an actual client in the chat right now to answer the question by Pancake Analytics, at least from one perspective. Really cool. Thanks for that, Troy. Joe Perot says, does Mark advise clients to reslab? For instance, moving a Gaudi Ruth from a BVG slab to an SGC, or is it usually just selling it as is? So for the cards, I think he's talking about the cards you're bringing in that are being consolidated out of.
Yeah, so I haven't, unless the client is asking me to, or like we recently had it where someone sent in a Pete Maravich rookie card and it was the old PSA slab. So I actually had to reslab this PSA, but nothing when it comes to crossing over. But I have clients that are sending in like raw cards that are pretty valuable. Like someone sent in a gold Kaboom Rob Gronkowski and a green Kaboom JJ Watt, and they were both raw. And we graded them for him, and both came back at PSA 10. So we're able to increase the value by 2-3 times. So we do that for all our clients. If you send in raw cards that are nice, I advise grading them. And if they would like us to grade them, we'll do it.
There you have it. Now, I want to just dig into Joe's question here. What are your thoughts on this exact example? A Gaudi 1933 Babe Ruth in a BVG slab. What are your thoughts, Mark? Your personal thoughts? Do you think that card is worthy in that slab, or would you recommend, I know it's hard because they all look different, but would you recommend crossing it over to an SGC or a PSA slab?
So I would advise crossing that over to SGC or PSA, just because I know that vintage clients want the cards in those slabs.
Now, which one? Because PSA is going to charge you based on the value, I believe, where SGC is just going to charge you their fee, I believe. Not sure if those have changed as of recent, but which one would you recommend for a 1933 Gaudi Babe Ruth?
I would personally choose PSA. I trust the PSA.
Yeah, no, makes sense. You're certainly not alone in that. Arthur Mogilevsky says, wouldn't have been able to build my Kobe Grail collection without Mark and FundYourCards. A true mensch. Very nice, Arthur. Welcome to the show. Josh Giddy Super Collector says, thank you, Mark, for funding my Josh Giddy Super PC. So he's actually named himself here on YouTube after what you've helped him build. Josh Giddy Super Collector, welcome to the show. Cardboard Trap House thinks it's a great idea, Mark, but is there a time limit to this layaway plan? That's a great question. How quickly do you need to receive the cards from the client? And I guess you are protected because you don't ship their Grail until you receive them. But what is your general policy for turnaround time?
So let's say that we'd win a card today, Saturday, and you obviously can't ship anything today or tomorrow. So usually we ask our clients to ship it like the first few days of the week, unless like they've talked to me before where they're on a trip or they have something going on. But all of our clients ship within the first week, and then the deals usually wrap up within 45 days it's 45 days if we hit the value, or it's longer if they need to send in additional cards.
Now, thank you for that. And Cardboard Trap House, thank you for the question. But Mark, my phone just beeped because the New York Rangers have scored a goal.
1-1?
2-1.
Wait, they're winning?
2-1. A minute 40 left in the third period. Panarin just scored.
Oh my God, he's finally winning. I'm sorry, Jerry. No, the Rangers are losing. Damn it.
Well, yeah, they're down 2-1. That's right.
Okay.
Sorry, did I get you excited? Yeah, I apologize. And I hope you don't have this on. You're not recording this, Mark, but I know you're a Rangers fan.
Yeah.
They were down 2-0. They scored the 2-1 goal here, and they have a minute 40 left now to score again. You got to think they're going to pull the goalie, and they're either going to tie it up or they're going to lose 3-1 here tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm a big Rangers fan, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, good luck. The Florida Panthers are a formidable opponent here in the East. Cardboard Trap House, a second question, Mark. If your company gets a ton of business, is there a ceiling that you can handle? And if you hit that number where you would have to go outside for funds, would you charge anything above 10%?
To date, we haven't had to do that. So, I don't think we'd ever charge above 10%. So our books are good. So, yeah.
How did you arrive at that 10% fee?
Honestly, I just felt like it was a fair number. And then honestly, when the company was launched, people were telling us that we're charging too little, but I feel comfortable at the 10%. So we'll keep it at that.
Who who was telling you it was too little? I know it's a weird question, but clients or
No,
family or friends or
it was some other dealers in the space that were talking about it. That's it.
Got it. Too legit to quit on Instagram says, Mark helped me on a number of transactions. He's a great asset to the hobby. I love seeing too legit to quit at all the shows. Real guy, just always a smiley guy. Always good to see. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in on Instagram. All right. I don't really think I have any more questions specific to Fund Your Cards. The chat seems to be out of questions. Is there anything else before we move on and get your general market thoughts? Anything else you'd like people to know about Fund Your Cards, Mark?
So I think I spoke about it a little bit, but like with the crossing over or the grading, so it's not something that we've announced yet, but we've been doing a lot of PSA submissions for our clients, and I've been driving them to New Jersey. So we're going to be doing like PSA submissions to the public in the future, and whenever our clients send in raw cards, we'll be grading them if it makes sense as well, or if they'd like us to. So that's something to look out for in the future.
All right. So you're expanding your scope of services and trying to be more full service. I think that's a good thing. Seems like a lot of companies are trying to be everything to everybody. I'm not saying that's you, but I think that, you know, removing friction is a great way to build out the business models here within the hobby. So listen, you're seeing a lot of cards. You must have a really, I would say, you know, just a perspective on the hobby that is timely and maybe somewhat on point because you are dealing in so many cards all the time. What are you seeing in the market right now? What are your feelings as to how the hobby is doing in the singles world? We're not talking about how that Panini football product that doesn't have a checklist is selling. Who cares about that? We're talking about good cards, and I'm not saying those aren't good cards, but yeah, we're not talking about commons and just buying a box of Prism or whatever. We're talking about cards that are desirable because not only are you funding great cards, but the cards you're bringing in have to be pretty good too. I'm guessing they have to be good players or great cards from great sets. Give us your feeling. Give us your what's the pulse of the market right now from your perspective?
Yeah, so I'd say for the past year, everyone is trying to get the best of the best, or whether it be like the best for the player that they collect. And it could be any player. They want their Grail or their 1 of 1 or their best card. So a lot of people are like, literally, we have clients sending in commons and lower end cards, like some random autos, etc. And they're all consolidating into like a nice vintage piece or a nice 90s card or a player from their hometown, like try to get the best instead of having hundreds of them. They want just like that one card or those two cards. So, and I like, that's why there's a lot more competition for the best cards is what I'm trying to say.
So that's great. That's a segue into another question I was going to have for you, which is, based on what you're doing and the fact that Fund Your Cards is a consolidation tool, are you seeing an increased demand for very expensive cards? And then conversely, are you seeing an increased supply for lower end cards because you are facilitating a lot of that supply now? You are pushing a lot of these cards into the marketplace, whether it's on Instagram stories or any of the marketplaces that we've mentioned. How do you think about all that?
Yeah, so like something that I've realized when, like, for example, commons, like back when I got into the hobby, I could sell base prisms very easily or base top rookies very easily. Now, like, let's say if a client sends them in and I list them on Instagram, no one is even interested in them if they're under comps. So like even let's say dealers or like collectors are looking for rare cards. They specifically want rare cards unless it's like a vintage card, like a base rookie. They're not interested in anything like from the modern prisms or the modern tops bases. Like that stuff isn't moving. So people are just getting rid of those cards in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm hearing, and just from me consuming content on YouTube and Instagram, I'm hearing that the whole repacker world is really, a big part of the hobby now. Breakers are transitioning into repackers. Maybe they're just supplementing the breaking business with repack products. Do you ever sell the cards that you're bringing in to repackers? Do you know if you're selling to repackers? And what do you think about the whole world of repack products right now?
I don't know. I haven't sold any to repackers directly. It's possible that the people that buy from me sell them to repackers, but I'll be very honest. I don't know like how their whole business model works. I've never really been interested in it or looked into it, but I just like from what I hear, like sometimes my clients tell me, "Can you please message this repacker or ask this repacker because they're paying like strong compared to comps." So I guess they're buying up a lot of stuff, but I'm not really like I'm not in tune with that repacker stuff.
Okay, now fair enough. And because you mentioned a bit earlier that at card shows, it's been harder and harder to buy from vendors at card shows. They're not as desperate to sell as they were when the market was in free fall there about a year to 2 years ago. And what went through my mind just quietly in my own head was, I wonder if part of what you're noticing is because what I'm hearing is repackers are going from show to show and just buying up all the cards at close to comp or even comp. They're not buying it 65, 70% anymore. They're buying it 80, 90, or even 100%. And I think my understanding, Mark, is that their business model is then to sell those cards at maybe 120% of comps or something like that. Does that make sense to you? And do you have any further thoughts on it?
Yeah, so like something that I realized, I remember when like I don't remember exact time, but when the market was falling like a year or a few like before the start of 2024, people were willing to sell for 70% or 75%. Or I remember posts being out there, I'm buying everything at 70, 75%. But now I have friends or like I've heard that people are now paying 80, like people who are dealers are paying 85 to 90% of comps. So like that shows a lot more confidence in the market, and that, like I said, like it's not as easy as it once was. People are more confident in their cards, and they're not just desperate to dump everything.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I think it might all be interrelated, but I just don't know how far reaching the repackers are. And just, are they actually having that sort of effect on card shows? I'm hearing they are, but I haven't seen it for myself, even at the last 3 shows I've been to in the last 5 weeks or so. Let's say hello to Daniel Brown. Good evening to you. Welcome to the show. Yit says quality over quantity. And I think there's some people that operate that way. I'm moving that way too in my personal collecting. And then you got people who just want to have, tons and tons and thousands and tens of thousands of cards, and that's cool too. I think there's the continuum of like what kind of collector you are, and at one extreme end is the hoarder. The hoarder is way out there when you can't move through your house because there's cards everywhere. Pancake Analytics says, Mark, sounds like you have a unique data set of cards coming to you regularly. Have you ever thought of cleaning or aggregating the data and then sharing it with collectors so they have an insight on what cards are being considered expendable by your clients?
I think that's like pretty interesting idea. So like I said, what people are getting rid of are base prisms or base rookies, low end autos of random players. But then like on the other hand, we have clients that are buying a $50,000 card and they're getting rid of other grails that are $6,000, $10,000. So it honestly like just depends. It skews from either not good cards or to amazing cards, but they just want to get a better card now.
Well, maybe Pancake Analytics should reach out to you directly and talk about maybe working out some sort of data sharing arrangement, because I know he's big into data and analytics, and you are creating a lot of that right now. So you never know. Maybe there's an opportunity there. Tom Newman says, Mark is a GOAT. And on Instagram, Champ Card said, Mark has been amazing and helped me with a good number of purchases when consolidating. So, I mean, your clients are just coming out of the woodwork here right now, Mark, and making these comments. It's great to see that that people do trust you and like working with you. So really, congratulations to you on that, because that's not easy to do. We are in a hobby where there are a lot of people who are, and thankfully they're out there looking for the bad actors and kind of vetting people in the hobby. And it's a good thing because it keeps you honest and it forces you to have to make sure you're doing it right, because it's almost like, they'll find something if there's something out there type of thing. So, and that's not why good people are good people, but it's still good. It's a good deterrent out there as well. Tom Newman says, Mark is the people's champ and no one is helping collectors like he is. No one's helping collectors like he is. I think there's other way people are helping collectors out there, but you're putting your money out there on the line for these people. I think that's what Tom Newman is getting at. Tom, thanks for the comment. All right. Let's totally switch it up for a moment. I want to talk. We've been talking a bit about data and private sales. Let's talk about the Michael Jordan, the Star 101 card, the PSA 9 that recently traded hands in a private deal, doing the old air quotes thing, in a private deal for, I think it was $925,000. I believe that like shattered the prior record for that card in that grade by like 2 to 3 times the value. I think the one previous sold for under $500,000, maybe even under 400K. I'm not sure. Now we see this one sell for $925. It was reported by Collect, which is Darren Ravel's hobby media outlet, the newly released, the newly launched. And Jesse Craig, formerly of PWCC, currently of Acquire, I think is quoted as putting this deal together. And we've seen on public forums, we've seen a lot of sort of pushback and scrutiny towards this sale, whether it really happened and is it really a private sale when it's now made public, and why aren't the buyer and the seller identifying themselves, and all these questions coming about regarding this card. I've sort of laid the foundation there for you, Mark. What are your thoughts on the sale, on the way that it was announced, not reported on? I'm not saying your thoughts on the way it was reported on by Darren Ravel. I mean, the way it was really delivered to him by the Acquire team, I believe, of Jesse Craig. And how do you feel about the fact that we don't know who bought or sold this card?
Yeah, so something that I think is very important in this deal is, like we discussed, like the reputation factor. So I don't know Jesse personally, but I know his partner Brockwell. So I think that reputation is extremely important. So the fact that they're the ones who brokered it. I trust them because I do business with them, and he was my rep for many, many years. So I think that the sale is real, and I don't see why they would be interested in reporting a fake sale, because that just ruins your reputation. And in terms of like keeping the seller and the buyer private, I think that they have that right to do that, because like I have many clients where we're buying from it, I know that we're setting record comps on certain cards, but they don't want me to report it. And if they don't want me to report it, I won't report it. They're not forced to do it. But like I said, I have a reputation, and I know that these are legitimate. We're not doing anything fraudulent. So I also have the same expectation from them. Like if the brokers are reputable, I think we should trust them.
Now, I agree with what you said. I think everyone has the right to privacy. I think the nuance in this case is that the sale was reported to Card Ladder, and Card Ladder processed it through, if I understand correctly, and if Chris is listening right now and you want to correct me, I believe that they accepted it into their private sales database because it was reported on by Darren Ravel, a respected journalist. And I believe I've heard that either Card Ladder or Ravel saw, like the bank wire move. They saw proof of the money moving, which I got to say, like for me, that's a moment in time. Like they could easily the next day send the money back the other way and not tell Darren Ravel or not show Card Ladder. So I have a bit of an issue with that because, and not with how it's been handled by Collect or Card Ladder. I just have an issue with a check being evidence that a card traded hands, or a bank wire, someone screenshotting their bank account and showing me $925,000 coming in or leaving the bank account, when 2 days later they could just reverse that transaction, at really minimal cost, $40 for sending a wire, whatever it might be. So what do you think of that piece of it? Like how buttoned up does the evidence need to be, regardless of whether or not the hobby trusts the people involved? And not everybody trusts the people involved. It's just the fact of the matter. So what do you think of Chris from Card Ladder has made a comment. I'm going to just put on the screen and read it out. He says, exactly right, Jeremy. Darren vetted it, published it on Collect, and we reported that. And I think it's really important that everybody who cares about this knows what went into it. And the one thing one of the things I like about what Card Ladder does is that they're sharing how they got the information, where they got it. But I do think, Mark, that's the issue that people had, was that this is a private sale reported and published by Card Ladder, but without identifying either of the parties. And Card Ladder's general rule is, I think it is, Chris, at least one of the buyer or seller's name has to be made public. So I think they make an exception here because it was published on Collect. Chris, if you want to maybe let us know that too, I'd be curious. But if I got that right, that's great. Mark, any further comments based on that?
I think that, like, in this situation, the brokers are public and they might have been involved in moving the money, but like, I don't know. I look at it like, if you're not going to believe it, you're not going to believe it. But I trust the brokers. I haven't read many of Darren Reville's pieces, but I assume he's very reputable as well. So I feel like when you have those people behind it, it's easier for me to believe it. Like, because for example, I have clients and I want to submit sales to Card Ladder. There's nothing I can send them outside of me paying whoever I bought the card from. I'm also going to have to send them a bank wire, proof of a bank wire. So it's at the end, like, if people trust me, I would assume that they would assume that sale is legitimate. But if they don't, then they don't. There's nothing really I could do about that.
Yeah, no, it's fair. And I think it's a tough situation. It's tough for even for Card Ladder to just kind of figure this out. And I think they have their policies in place, but I'm sure they're throwing curveballs all the time, and they have to pivot and be somewhat versatile in how they handle the private sales data. Because let's face it, there's more private sales going on. I mean, maybe eBay has the most transactions of any platform or format, but private sales between just individuals at card shows, at card shops, I mean, there's a lot of data there that is not being captured. And when we are, the hobby is very often relying on comps, but what percentage of comps are we actually seeing where we can go to Card Ladder's historical data for, right? They're bringing in from 10 different auction houses now, I believe, but the private sales, and I commend them for doing that. I just know it's challenging for them, and I'm sure it's caused them a little bit of grief and maybe the odd gray hair at this point. Okay. Anything? Oh, here's what I want to ask you too about this. More, not so much about the sale, but about the card, Mark. There's a lot of debate, and this will probably never go away, about what is Michael Jordan's rookie card. Is it the 86 Fleer that was distributed nationally and at random, and was licensed, or is it the 84 Star 101, which was not distributed randomly, was more available by mail order or at basketball stadiums, was licensed, but is also from 2 years earlier. First of all, I'll just say where I don't care anymore, which is they're both great cards. I don't give a hoot which one has the rookie card designation. Actually, I don't really care about rookie cards so much anymore, for cards that are pre-1989, but it's obviously an important card, and I know it's an important discussion, but where do you fall? What's a rookie card?
Yeah, so I like the 1984. I believe that the 1984 Star is a rookie just because it's licensed and it came out 2 years before that, but I don't think that debate is that it's never going to get settled. But like, I've personally been seeing, like, I've had clients reach out to me to look for 84 signed rookies or to fund 84 Star cards. So there's a lot more demand for them now compared to an 86 Fleer.
Yeah, well, it's so much scarcer, which I think is a very awesome part of it. I listened to a Dr. Beckett podcast recently. I've listened to Victor, the rookie card specialist, talk about it, and I don't want to say I don't agree with them, but I don't share the same beliefs that they do about it anymore. And I think what those guys are holding on to right now, and with all due respect to Dr. Beckett and Victor, I mean, these guys are, Dr. Beckett, we all know what he's done for the hobby. Victor, the rookie card specialist, that's his YouTube channel. He's really trying to bring order to the rookie card and preserve the sanctity of the rookie card. And I respect him for that. But what I understood they were kind of relying on was that back in the mid 80s, what a rookie card had to be was something that was distributed nationally, not regionally, could be accessed by many people, and had to come out of a pack, I guess. Had to come out of a pack. I think it might have had to come out of a pack randomly to be a rookie card, which does bring question to final update sets and factory sets that were produced and all that, Tiffany's and that kind of thing. But for me, Mark, we're now 40 years later. The world has changed. I don't really personally care what the standards were for a rookie card in 84. Here we are this many years later. What's important to me is that the card measures the way a card should measure, and it's the earlier card, and that it's licensed. I do think it should be licensed. To me, that's important. But the fact that it didn't come out of a random pack, and the fact that you couldn't just buy it at any corner store in any city in America, I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care about the method of distribution. I don't think is nearly as important, because we also didn't have Amazon back in the 80s to bring you anything you wanted at any time. So I know there's a lot of stuff there, but for me, I think we have to change with the times, and the hobby is changing. The internet came around, post 84 and 86. So, to me, the 80, if I had to say which one is the rookie card, to me now, it's the 84 star. That's the rookie card in my mind. That makes the most sense to me. But I'm not trying to convince anybody here. I don't really care. I really don't care, except that it's a fun discussion. And I don't own either right now. And I was coveting the 84 for a while. Now I just feel like it's almost losing its flair for me, because it's just too much in the news right now. Where are you at with that?
Yeah, I was looking to like buy high grade 84 stars, or like not the 101, but other ones. And like we actually sold one recently on PWC Premier. It was from the Shanko collection, which I didn't like. Basically, those were the first star cards that Beckett graded. They came out of that person's collection, and we actually sold it. We sold it for our client, but it sold for $45,000, and that was even before the PSA 9 sale. So like the market has been feel like heating up already for like about a month, and maybe before that. And I don't know, I like the 84 star, but it's a little too pricey for me to buy now. But I could see the demand picking up there.
And continuing off of my not caring about which one really has the RC designation, I don't care about the RC designation anymore. Like I do when it comes to my Gordie Howe rookie card or my Reggie Jackson rookie card. I care about that, because back then there weren't many cards. Nowadays, a rookie card is one card amongst thousands from that same year. So I appreciate what Victor's trying to do to kind of maintain the sanctity of the rookie. I think the rookie card's lost its flair for I think many of them have. I shouldn't say it, but at least they have for me. So I don't care which one has the designation, but then it comes down to me do I like to look at the card? Well, the Jordan 86 Fleer, iconic, beautiful image. Love the color. It's like tattooed in our brains.
Yeah.
Where the 84 star isn't quite as nice. The quality of the stock is not there. It wasn't produced very well. But what it has going for it is scarcity. There's just not nearly as many. It's a drop in the bucket compared to, it's like 1/1000th of the number of stars were produced versus the Fleer. So that's why I think the star card is the more desirable, should be more valuable. And it always has been more valuable, is my understanding. And now what we've seen is a PSA 9 sells for $925,000, beating the sale of any PSA 10 86 Fleer, which I think topped out at $840K for a PWCC-E or S version of the card. So what do you think should be more valuable right now? Or do you feel that, the star is more valuable and that is justifiable?
Yeah, I think that the star should be more valuable, and it's already happening now based on like the sales that we've had. And something that like I realized from my clients, we really haven't funded any rookie cards. People would rather have like their 90s Grail, even though it's not a rookie, or like their best star rubies or their best patch auto. The only rookie cards we funded were like a Babe Ruth rookie or cards from that era, or if the rookie card was signed. Like we did an 86 Fleer signed Jordan, a Gretzky signed Topps rookie. So I see a lot of collectors shifting away from the rookie cards, and they would rather have the best card, even though it's not a rookie.
Yeah, I was trying to put pen to paper earlier today, thinking about like where do I stand on rookie cards right now? Because to me, the Wayne Gretzky rookie, a very important card, and I know there are some challengers to what might be an earlier card, but to me, there's nothing that's the 2.5 by 3.5 inches. I'm not counting the Sportscaster as a card personally. So I'm trying to kind of I'm trying to articulate where I fall on rookie cards, because I say I don't really care about them anymore. Well, that's not true. I care about my Mickey Mantle 51 Bowman rookie card. I care about my 48 Leaf Jackie Robinson rookie card. I love these cards. I love that they are rookie cards. But move forward now. 89 Griffey rookie card. It's right there. It is right behind my head. There's a painting of it right there. I've owned one of those my whole life up until recently. I don't own one right now. I don't care to own one, but I have a 98 Star Rubies, Ken Griffey Jr. Maybe it's the 99. Forget the year.
I don't know. I think
it's the 99. I have that card and I love it. And it's there's only 50 of them produced, where there's, a million of his Upper Deck rookie. Like, I think his Upper Deck rookie, yeah, it's an iconic card, but iconic doesn't necessarily need to be equivalent or equal to monetary value. I think you can have an iconic card that can be worth $100 because it's just so pervasive in the hobby. It's everywhere. And again, I don't know how to properly say, like, I don't care about rookie cards post 1989. Maybe that makes sense for me, because but I also don't care about the 89 Griffey rookie anymore. Yeah. There's other Griffey cards I'd rather own in my collection. So how do you feel about that?
Yes, I think like after 89, when there began to be like multiple rookie cards or multiple options, the rookie card like lost some of its allure. But like even like today, when you have like a Prism release, like people usually agree that the Prism Gold is the best gold rookie card, so those still have a huge premium. And that's what, like, if it's financially possible, a collector is not gonna, they don't really care for the base card, but they're gonna try to get their gold, or like that's the standout base card, or the black 1/1, or the Nebula 1/1. So I feel like if people want a rookie card, they're going to get the best base card they could get, or the best patch auto they could get. So that's, I would look at it.
Yeah, no, that's just it. Like, the Gretzky rookie, important to me, but I have a ton of other Gretzky cards from his second year all the way up until a couple of years ago, 20 years after he retired, because that's where you get auto patches from, is post-playing day sort of stuff on a guy like that. And I love those cards. But I'm not prepared to sell my last Gretzky rookie yet either, where it was easy for me to sell my Jordan rookie because I have other Jordans that I love. I also see it's hard.
Yeah.
There's so much nuance in different situations. So let's go to some comments though. First, okay, we'll come back to Joe's about soccer in a few minutes. Tom Newman says that star sale is so talked about because the 86 Fleer holders are getting nervous. Yeah, that might be why it's being talked about so much. But again, this, to me, they're both very important cards. The only reason why the Jordan rookie is worth so much, well, there's two reasons why it's worth so much. It's the high grade, the PSA 10 the value of the holder is huge, right? The PSA slab is worth more than the card inside of it in today's hobby. It's just the way the hobby operates. I try not to operate that way, but it's the way I think the majority of people do look at the hobby right now. And it's also, it's been thought to be his rookie card for so long. So many people want to own that card. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is I don't know that this is why it's being talked about so much, as Tom Newman is saying, that it's being talked about because the 86 Fleer holders are getting nervous. There's so many 86 Fleer holders out there, people that own them, and there's so few Star 101s out there that people can own. I think the total print run is stated to be like 1,500 or something really low. I'm probably wrong on that, but I believe it's a very, very low number. So I don't know if that's why it's being talked about, or because to me, they're kind of two different cards. And if the RC designation is so important, then I don't know. It's like all of a sudden the Negro League stats are being incorporated to Major League stats. So Josh Gibson's now the best player ever. Like, nothing's changed in history. The history is still what it is. The only thing that's changed is how people are looking at it and organizing the information. And that is bringing more value to something now. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like if Pete Rose gets in the Hall of Fame, do all of his cards go up in value because of that, when nothing else has changed except that somebody or a committee decided to let him in? kind of weird. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say that the 86 Fleer holders are nervous. Like we discussed earlier, I think it was more people are talking about that star sale just because of the way it was done. But the 86 star is gonna, is gonna have demand regardless of what happens with the Fleer 86. Like people nowadays, in my opinion, just want the rarer card. And when they see that people are agreeing with them, they're able to make that move to buy. Like I still feel like that matters. Like people are going to buy the 84 star if more and more people are agreeing with them that that's the rookie. That's just, I feel like, how people operate. So yeah, I think that the fact that it's rare and harder to get is what's pushing people to try and acquire it.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, the RC designation is extremely important in the hobby. You know, people that don't even collect cards, people who haven't collected cards in 20 to 40 years will still talk about the rookie card. You know, they'll still say, oh, I got to get a Gretzky rookie, or I need a Griffey rookie, or the Frank Thomas Leaf rookie. Like there's people that were collecting back then in their teens who still covet those cards. But that's nostalgia, I think, more than it is just because it's a rookie. But okay, let's move on to another comment here. First of all, Chef Young Walter wants to shout you out, Mark. Very nice. Chef Young Walter, welcome to the show. Let's Go Jordan is back for another show. It was good to have you last night when we did a 90s auction showcase. By the way, 90s auction ends tomorrow night, everybody. 90sauctions.com. LGC says the price is an important data point, but a scan of the card is also an important data point. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, LGC, but I completely agree that you need to see a card. I don't care what holder it's in, what grade. I'm never going to offer on a card I haven't seen because, you know, especially in a PSA holder, there's such a range of conditions within every single grade point that you need to see the card. Bob Boozle says Star 101 is the rookie card. If you don't agree, you are my enemy. He feels very passionately, guys, about the Star 101. And Bob, we are not enemies because I'm with you. I consider that to be the rookie. But you'll hear me on other shows saying we have an 86 Fleer Michael Jordan here, you know, like 86 Fleer Michael Jordan rookie. I mean, you'll hear me say that as well. Brendan Ryan says it's Old versus New Testament in the Jordan rookie card debate. Yeah, that's well said, Brendan. I definitely agree with that. The professor says it confuses me that the term rookie card is used on a card that was printed and nationally distributed in the actual rookie year. That is, well, that's the way, that's I don't know if you worded that properly, Professor, but rookie cards are usually printed and distributed in the rookie year, or at least as soon as close to it as possible. Not sure what else you were trying to get at there. Yit says it's nice to have, but there's a lot of people, it's nice to have, but there's a lot of other cards that have better eye appeal to the collector, even though they are not considered rookie. Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't care so much about having like a Derek Jeter rookie, 93 SP. It's a cool card, but it's not that nice. I mean, at the wrong angle, you can't even, you know, it's just very dark. It doesn't scan well. It's not that nice of a card, but it's not too bad. But there's so many Derek Jeter cards I would rather have than his 93 SP, at least for myself. The professor says, for those discussing Star Jordan rookies versus Fleer, should they disclose if they own either card?
I own none.
You own, which one do you own?
I own none. I don't own either.
You own none. It's a great, I think the professor's really getting at sort of just, you know, being transparent about your motives, your biases. And I think at the end of the day, you know, if you're going to argue one way, you're probably going to argue for the one that you're probably going to want the card you argue for if you don't already own it. Because if I own an 86 Jordan Fleer, well, I would still say what I think, and I think a lot of people would, but I think there are people out there who would say, well, you know, it's the 86, I own the 86 Fleer, or maybe you're Rick Probstein and you own 35 PSA 10s. Well, it might be hard to get someone like that off it because you've got millions tied up in these things. So good question, Professor. I don't know if you need to disclose it or not. I think it would be a great question for someone to ask you when you are discussing it, though. And I don't mean you and specifically the professor. I mean anybody. Brendan Ryan says the 85 Prism Jordan sticker is the tiebreaker, LOL. Mark Santucci, welcome to the show. Yitz says it's nice to have a true rookie, but in general, there's a lot of other nicer cards of the player that have a little more appeal for the collector. Totally agree with that. Mid-Atlantic says it's only been 2 years since PSA started grading star cards. For years, collectors didn't have confidence in their authenticity. That's now changed. Yeah, that's a really important point that Mid-Atlantic makes. So my understanding of the whole story there, Mark, and maybe you've heard the same thing, is that there's what's the gentleman's name who is the star expert again? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now, but I am. If anyone can tell me it, let me know. He's talked about quite a bit, just slipping my mind. Anyway, Steve Taft. Steve Taft is who I'm thinking of. He's the expert, and I know for years PSA was trying to get him to help them. And I think they ended up giving up, and they went on without him. So I still don't think they have the star expert in-house. I don't know what they have or how they're doing it, how they are actually authenticating them. But I'm not convinced that it's foolproof over at PSA to authenticate the star 101s, only because I don't know. And only because the hobby seems to respect Steve Taft over everybody else. And my understanding is he's not part of the authentication team. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I'd love to know that he is. And Mark, feel free to jump in on any of this stuff as we go through these comments if you have any thoughts. Hobby Champs, 84 star, 86 floor. What the hell are the 85 stars? Yeah, those are just more, second year star cards, I guess. Second year star cards is what I would say. Foul Fireball says, can't they both be rookie cards? That doesn't I don't think so, Mark or Jeremy. Foul Fireball's name is Jeremy. I don't think so, Jeremy, because how can you have a rookie card of a guy from 84 and another rookie card from the same guy in 86 that came out 2 years later? It was licensed in 84.
Yeah, it's tough to say that both are rookie cards just because they're like two to 3 years apart. And yeah, like you said, they're both licensed.
Exactly. Yeah, my thoughts. That's right. Hobby Champ says, I wish I had any Jordan rookie. I'll eventually get the star. Mark Santucci, 2 Marks, no Jordans. That's right. Professor says, bad wording, was the Fleer Jordan rookie card released in... No, Professor. That's why there's an 84 star, because his rookie year was 83-4 or 4-5. I'm not sure which one. Hobby Champ says, Gretzky had 2 rookies. So does MJ, just in different years. Yeah, not so though. That does not true, right? Gretzky does, because you got Tops and Opeachy. Different set of facts there for sure. Center fielder, welcome to the show. Glad you're enjoying it. Weekend Update says, I've heard the Fleer and star images are from the same game. If we can figure out which photo was taken earliest in the game, that should settle the debate once and for all. I like that comment, but I disagree with what it's saying, because the card still, even though they had the image, the card still wasn't printed for 2 years after the star one was. So, but I do like the comment the Weekend Update makes, because to me, there is something to the fact that if that image on the 86 Fleer was taken from during a rookie game, that's better than if it wasn't. Yeah. It still doesn't make it, to me, as rookie card as it would have been if it came out in 84. But I do like that. Thanks for sharing that Weekend Update. Let's Go Jordan says, I feel like 51 Bowman, Mantle, and the more beloved 52 Tops. They can both be rookies in my eyes. Which one is worth more? Demand is higher on top. I disagree. Let's Go Jordan. I disagree, because the 52 Tops is not a rookie card. No one will tell you it's his rookie card. People will say that, but they don't mean it. I hear it all the time. They say it out of convenience, but they don't actually mean it. There's only one Mickey Mantle rookie card. It's 51 Bowman. It's a different situation. They were both licensed. They were both put into packs. It's a different set of facts from the difference between the 86 Fleer and the 84 Star. Professor, do we know if there are fake Star Jordan rookie cards entering the market? I believe that's a big issue, actually, Professor. I believe it is. Mid-Atlantic tells us MJ has 3 star cards in that same 84 Star set. He does. I think 101 is the lowest numbered card, and the other ones are like there's a Team USA card and whatever the third one is, right, Mark? Do you know what the third one is?
There's 2 other ones. There's like the Team USA one, and I think there's one with a blue border.
Right.
It's some kind. I don't know exactly what it's called.
Yep. Professor says, so why is the Fleer Jordan called a rookie? Well, that's because that's what Dr. Beckett called it when he put out the magazine 40 years ago. I think there comes a time, just like financial reporting change all the time as new technology enters the world. I think that this needs to be changed too, as the world has become a global economy, and it doesn't really matter if you can only buy these cards in certain basketball stadiums in cellophane packs and you know what you're getting. It's still a card, it still fits into your album like all the rest of the cards. And so to me, that decision made by Dr. Jim Beckett, 40 years ago, I think it might be time to review it. At least I'm willing to for me, say I'm not really there anymore. The world, the things have changed. Simple as that. LGC, should Card Ladder have a scan of the card in order to recognize the transactions? And Chris from Card Ladder right away responds, we do. High quality scanner pick with serial number displayed are required for Card Ladder private sales. Thank you, Chris, for sharing that here on the show. Mark Santucci says Jordan can have a first flair, first this, but only one rookie. It's Mantle's first Topps card. Yeah, Mantle is the first Topps card in 52, and I agree with Mark here. It's his first flair card in 86. And Mid-Atlantic says the blue border is the last rookie of the year, the last 11 rookie of the year card. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mid-Atlantic, for rounding out the 3 Jordan cards in the 84 star set. Okay. Lots of comments there, Mark. Lots of action on the Star 101. We got away from the sale itself and into the talk as to what a rookie card is, which I didn't know we were going to get into, Mark. But for you yourself, just put a bow on this discussion for us, Mark. Do you think that the card is worth $925,000 that was sold?
I don't know. It sold, I think, for like $420,000 a year or 2 years ago. So I don't know how it just doubled like that. But yeah, I don't know. This sale shocked me. So the way, like, if people think that the card rose, I mean, it's a pop 3, right? So that, I guess, can make the number jump more. But I don't know. It seems like a lot of money to me.
Yeah. Listen, if the sale was legitimate, then it's worth that amount to the person who bought it on that day. It doesn't mean the next one's going to be worth the same amount.
Correct. Yeah.
At auction, it's different if it was an auction, because then you've got 2 people bidding it up, so you do know that it's worth at least the same amount as the second bidder, because that person was willing to also pay that amount. Private sales, to me, while I think that the data is important to have, if it's all legit, they're not nearly as indicative of what the next one should sell for, because just because I think something's worth something doesn't mean that everybody else needs to. And that's what a private sale is. It's private. There's no formal bidding process, or at least not one that we know about. Hobby Champ says, I do have the 89 Hoops Jordan rookie card. And he's poking fun because he's right. It's not the and I know he's being facetious. It's not the 89 Hoops Jordan rookie. It's the first Jordan rookie. It's kind of like saying, I've got the Don Russ George Brett rookie, that came out in 83 or whatever, 82 sort of thing. Let's go Jordan Irony. I own Mantle Bowman rookie, but don't own the Star Jordan. And he goes on to say, it's the price they needed to pay to get one of the 3 guys who don't need the money to let go of it. That's a great point there by Let's Go Jordan, right? It's a pop 3, I suppose, and you want to pry it from someone's hand who may or may not need the money. Let's say they don't. Well, you're going to have to pay their not for sale price on that. I wanted to go back now, Mark, to a question, because 2 people asked this, but Joe Pro put it in the chat. He says, thoughts on the soccer market? What's your best Messi card? Well, MK also was curious to hear your thoughts on the soccer market, the high-end soccer market. And to me, Mark, it's made up of Messi, Pelé, Haaland, Ronaldo, and Mbappe. To me, that's the soccer market. I know it's more than that. Let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so I still am, but I was at one point like very, very involved in the soccer market when like I wasn't doing FundYourCards, so I was able to like buy more cards for myself. But I don't know, like this week we funded a few big soccer cards for a client, so we were able to get a 2016. So 2016 was in soccer, the player's club uniform, like let's say you play for Real Madrid, or like Ronaldo has Real Madrid cards and Portugal cards. A Real Madrid card is considered more valuable just because there are more Real Madrid fans, and he accomplished more with the team. So 2016 was the first year where Ronaldo was featured in a Real Madrid uniform. So we were able to fund the select gold of that, which is like it's a very collectible card. So what I'm seeing is like I feel like prices have fallen, where people are able to buy like the nicer cards, but they're going into strong collections. I don't know. I don't really follow the vintage soccer market, so I don't know what's going on there. But like the demand is still there for super factors, for black prisms. They're not available often of the best players like Messi, Ronaldo, Mbappe, or Haaland. So I'd say it's strong on the rare side, but like all the base cards and like the lower end has fallen off. But that's just like everything else.
Okay. And I would like to add Diego Maradona to my
Yeah,
earlier list of soccer players as well. Okay. Well, I hope that answered Joe's question and addressed MK's question from earlier. I got to go back to comments, Mark. We got some good stuff coming through here. Foul Fireball says Star was small and only regional with no internet. Then it cannot be an RC. I disagree. I completely disagree with that, Jeremy. I don't care that they were small and only regional at this point, because now you can get them anywhere. Times have changed, and I'm willing to go back and say, well, now it's the rookie. To me, it's the rookie card. But that's just me. It doesn't have to be you, Foul Fireball, or anybody else. I disagree for myself. I think it can be a rookie card. I don't care what the rules were back then. Back then, listen, I come from a financial reporting background, and I just know that rules are always changing as new technologies are introduced, as new businesses are launched, as things happen. It's like law itself is fluid. It's always some more than others, but certainly tax law is always changing, and financial reporting is always changing. Why can't the hobby, certain things change in the hobby too? To me, it can. So to me, it can be a rookie card. MK says, FundYourCards is a tremendous resource for collectors, and Mark is one of the best guys in this hobby. We're lucky to have him. Keep up the great work. Signed, a loving client. Michael, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Brendan Ryan says, Vegas Dave predicted $1.2 million for the 86 Fleer Jordan. It came close to 900,000 for the rarer card. Isn't absurd these days. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Let's Go Jordan says, my name includes the word Jordan, but I refuse to buy the star. Maybe I'm old school. That's totally fair. You don't have to buy it. Buy what you like. Buy what's important to you. The 86 Fleer is more important to a lot of people because it wasn't regionally distributed. That's fine. Don't buy the star. Buy the 86 Fleer. The iconicism of the 86 Fleer, I don't think is going to fade, at least not right away. It may over decades or even centuries, but I don't think it's going to fade in any near term. Troy says some of the general consensus in the hobby don't make sense, and it's just accepted. For example, Panini Gold out of 10s sell for more than greens out of 5 based on rarity and scarcity. The out of 5 should be worth more, but it's not. Gold is worth more. Yeah. I think aesthetics come into play. The word gold, is much, it connotes value and just status much more so than the word green does. Green has a few meanings, but gold definitely, I think, trumps it as far as value goes. But good point there, Troy. Yeah, Jordan agrees. Good point. Hobby Champs, I think we should normalize 2 types of rookie cards, the earliest rookie cards and the rookie year rookie cards. Like the 91 Upper Deck Teemu Selanne is his first rookie card, but the 92 is where he actually appears in his professional uniform. That would make sense to me, Hobby Champs. I like that myself. Peep says Star was a glorified garage operation, but it had a license. It actually had a license, which I think elevates it a bit from glorified garage operation. Peeps, what do you think, Peeps? The fact that it was licensed, does that not help it at all? Because when I think of a garage operation, I think of like lower than unlicensed. I think like, because Leaf isn't a garage operation and it's unlicensed for sports, most of it. So I don't consider that. So I hear what you're saying, but I think it was a bit elevated because it was licensed. Let's Go Jordan says, I'm in finance also. However, not much nostalgia for reporting, minus maybe 2 of us. Anyone have a 1980 IBM financial report in their collection? No, but I do have my collection of Berkshire Hathaway annual reports on my bookshelf down there. But I'll be honest, I don't ever open them up. All right, Mark. Good show so far. I'm having fun. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
The Goldin 100 is ending like right now. Have you had to bid on anything tonight?
I was supposed to, but it didn't end up happening because the card ended before he got back to me.
The card ended before he got back to you. So I'm just
actually texting me now.
The client is texting him right now. He's in the middle of a deal right now. I'm just going to share the screen here for a moment, bring up the Goldin site. This is the one of interest to me right now, Mark. Yeah. The Michael Jordan Ultimate Collection Logo Man Auto. It's at $2.4 million. It's in extended bidding, so there's at least 25 minutes left in the auction on this card. 2.4 million plus the buyer's premium. I think Goldin's buyer's premium is like 22 or is it 22%? So 2.4 plus, so it's almost $3 million. This card, it might even be there right now. What are your thoughts on this Jordan logo man? Are you going to buy this for a client?
No, I'm not getting that one, but I got to see it in person. There was like a Goldin 100 event in New York City, and the card is very, very beautiful. I would want to buy any player from that set just because of like the appeal of like the card and the set, like how it's designed. It's just very clean and sleek and simple. So it's definitely one of the best Jordan cards ever made.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, it is a beautiful card. I love the white back. Ultimate always has a nice aesthetic to it in whatever sport every year. Yeah, pretty much. 06, 07 hockey was a little overdone on the gold, but it's a beautiful, beautiful card all the time. And this is a great shot of him, a great autograph. The autograph appears to be perfect. You got the game used logo man right there. The card, it's an authentic card, or it doesn't grade. It was just slabbed as authentic. The autograph's a 10. What do you think a sale like this for $3 million plus does for other Jordan cards? And what do you know, the Jordan PMG green, there's 10 copies of it. I believe one guy owns like 4 of them or something like that. We haven't seen one probably since Nat Turner bought his copy on eBay several years ago now, just, you know, pre-pandemic. For what did he pay, like $300 and something thousand for it? I think it was maybe 4 something. What do you think a sale like this does? Is a sale like this, is it indicative at all at what other Jordan cards should sell for, and specifically the PMG green?
I mean, I don't think it's gonna have an effect on the Jordan market just because this is one of the best cards, and like Jordan cards like this don't sell often. Like like you said, you haven't seen a PMG green sell, so it's rare that you get cards like this to sell. So I guess like it's in a category of its own, is the way how I would look at it. But I think it would definitely affect, and I don't know. I feel like the buyer for this and a PMG green might be different. It's a PMG green is, I don't know. This is, I would say like the PMG green is, it's a definitely PMGs are strong collector cards, but it could also be a commodity card, just because I feel like, but it's always gonna have demand, and the set will always have demand. But I feel like an ultimate logo man is like more of, how do I say it? It's like it's more niche in a way. So I think it's, I don't know. I think
so. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think that this logo man card would appeal to more people. I think if Ken Goldin goes down to Times Square in New York, you know, and holds a card up for a good photo opportunity, I think that this card is going to get a much stronger response from the general public than the green. I think the green one would make people, what is that? There's nothing, we like the card. Us collectors, we like the card because we're used to the base cards. But when you have a nice parallel that's coated in this PMG green or red for that matter, we generally really like the aesthetic. But this card, that doesn't have an autograph. It doesn't have the logo man from a game used jersey in it, where this one does. I think that this card is probably worth more than a PM. If a PMG green came to market tonight, if there was one also in this auction, I think the logo man would sell for more. I could be off my rocker here. I don't know, because the PMG green is so sought after by lots of people, but isn't this sought after by a lot of people too? I don't. What do you think? What would sell for more tonight? What do you guys in the chat think? What would sell for more tonight? That if there was a PMG green that was also, let's say a PSA 7 sort of thing, what would sell for more? The logo man, this card here, or the PMG green Jordan? What do you think, Mark?
So I like the way, like you said, that if Ken Goldin would hold it, people would find this more. I find this card more attractive as well, but I think that this card is more attractive for like the public, and for collectors, the PMG green is more in demand and more attractive.
I wonder. I know. So myself,
I think,
like I'm a PMG guy. I love the cards. I do. but I think I'd rather have this card. I think I'd rather have this than the PMG green. And maybe from a financial perspective, that's the wrong decision, just when you're thinking about money. But to me, I know that if I were to take this card to, Wednesday night pub with my buddies here, that they would be much more impressed by this than they would be the PMG. They look at the PMG green, they go like, what is this? But this, they'd be like, oh my God, one of one autograph. And he wore that on the court. Yeah, he wore that on the court. Wow. This would elicit such a more exciting response than the PMG green would.
Yeah, I get that 100%.
Just my thoughts. But, again, I'm just one collector, one mind in this whole thing. And, but this is the Goldin 100. Look at that. The old Nintendo Entertainment System, $56,000. It's slabbed even. It's even slabbed. Hilarious. All right, let's do some more comments here, Mark, and then we'll wrap up because we pretty much covered everything that we talked about. And but I want to thank the chat. It's been awesome. Let's hear what they have to say. Mark Santucci says lower than unlicensed would be food issue cards, like a gasoline card. Even score is a real seg. Well said, Mark. That's hilarious. So I was talking about what's lower than unlicensed. That's hilarious. Let's go, Jordan. Brendan Ryan says pittance, that Jordan logo man, Jeremy. Yeah, just a pittance at $3 million US. Mid-Atlantic Sports Cards says, I query what the star sale means for all the other basketball legends with star cards that predate 86 Fleer, and he lists them all. What a great year of rookies in the 86 set, but maybe they're not. Anyway, Charles Barkley, Olajuwon, Drexler, Dominique, Patrick Ewing, Isaiah Thomas, etc. I mean, there's still a lot more of great Hall of Fame rookies in that 84 and 86 year. So yeah, and I think Mid-Atlantic brings up a the better question almost to me, because does the star sale have any impact on the Fleer cards moving forward? Maybe not. But I think it should have an effect on the other Hall of Famers in that set. Taking into account population and grade, the spread of the population as well, the different grades. And what do you think? Should it have an impact on these other guys?
Honestly, I never thought about that, but that's pretty interesting. If those other guys, if those were their also their rookie cards in 84 star, I think that we could see an interest in demand for them as well. Just because I think then the set also becomes more important. The same way people collect the full 86 Fleer set, people might want the full 84 star set.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that could be there is a trend in the hobby to collect the 86 Fleer set all graded, whether it's all 8s or 9s or 10s. Several people have done that. Maybe we'll start seeing that. And especially now with PSA accepting the star cards, I believe they're accepting all 84 star cards. That might not be true, but that's my perspective right now. It might not be accurate. Maybe they're only doing Jordans. I don't know. But in any event, I could see it stretching now into the star set where people want to get that whole star set graded. I could definitely see that happening. We asked the question earlier, what would sell for more tonight? The Jordan logo or a Jordan green PMG? Chef Young Walter says the logo 100%. Troy Sowers says the logo man as well, he believes. Let's go. Jordan said, I'll pay $925,000 for a PMG all day, any day. Well, fair enough. But my question to you, let's go, Jordan, is would you pay $3 million out the door for the PMG green like someone is going to for this Jordan logo man? Brendan Ryan says, we know the story of the couple that worked on the PMGs. He's talking about Gene and Earl McLeod from Arena Design. And we do know that story. And, Jean's a lovely lady, and she's now heading up design at Upper Deck. And there is, I think the hobby does have a romantic connection to Arena Design and all the wonderful designs that they created for our hobby in the mid-90s when they were with Fleer and Skybox. And, I hear what Brendan Ryan says here, but, Carvin Chung, who, kind of conceived the idea of exquisite, maybe even ultimate. I mean, I know he was at Upper Deck when Ultimate first came out. That might have been his product too. And there's a lot of reverence for Carvin Chung, just like there is for Gene and Earl Arena, Brendan. So I don't know how much that actually helps. And I don't know how much everybody really knows about that, but we certainly do. So that's pretty cool. Let's go. Jordan says the logo man isn't even from his playing days. No, because you couldn't get an autographed logo man from his playing days. You had to wait until after. Hobby Champ says, Mark, get me the MJ logo man. I'll send you my Jose Uribe collection in the morning. Very good. Very good. Foul Five Ball says the 86 Fleer looks much better. Agree. And at the time it was everywhere. Yes. I don't collect basketball, only baseball. I'm just following the hobby standards. 2 + 2 = 4. You can't change it to 2 + 2 = 5. Well, but that's not true, because 2 + 2 = 4 is a law. I mean, you can't fight gravity. You know what I mean? Well, maybe you can. You can go on an airplane. So I'll take that one back. But that analogy doesn't hold water for me, Jeremy. Just because 2 + 2 = 4, it's just a whole different thing there. I don't know how to properly articulate my thoughts, but completely a different discussion in my mind. Calling something a rookie card, it's somewhat subjective. I mean, someone had to decide that regionally available was important. Someone had to decide that being licensed is important, right?
Yeah.
Somebody decided that. Who? Dr. Beckett. He's just one mind. He's just one man. He's a smart guy. Let's face it. I mean, I listen to him all the time. And every episode of Sports Card Insights, something go like some epiphany. Like he's always spitting knowledge, but it doesn't mean that something he decided on 40 years ago has to hold tight today. Anyway, we beat that to death for now. Let's go. Jordan says, can we get a rookie Upper Deck logo man? $3 million for PMG Green. If a PSA 10 exists, hell yes. Well, okay. Someone's got to put up the money for that for sure. Hobby laws. Yeah, but I mean, there's always amendments. Have you ever heard of an amendment? Amendments happen. They do. Things can change. All right. Mark, anything else you want to chat about that we haven't chatted about yet?
I think we hit on a lot of points tonight. So nothing else.
Yeah, we covered a lot. We covered your history. We covered FundYourCards. We covered the market. We covered soccer, and of course the Jordan, the Star 101. What's a rookie card? Do the rookie cards even matter? We went deeper than I thought we were going to go, but that was all right, guys. We're gonna wrap this up then here. So I would like to start by thanking the chat for your comments, for your questions, for your interaction. I always want to make sure that I have opinions on things, but I want them to be challenged. And I feel like I was challenged tonight, foul 5 ball on the Star being the rookie. I like being challenged, but I haven't heard anything that has convinced me the other way. And I was staunchly for the 86 Fleer for a long time. I've changed my thoughts on that personally, and I'm allowing myself to change my thoughts on it. I think it's okay to look at things differently or have new information to help you form a new opinion on the. And this doesn't just go for the hobby. This can go for anything, really. It's called being open-minded, I believe. And I kind of pride myself on that. And I don't always get to the right answer, but until I do, please keep on challenging me with your thoughts on things, everybody. So thank you to the chat for that, and for your compliments towards Mark and FundYourCards. Mark, you sure have helped out a lot of people, and a lot of them showed up here for you tonight. So grateful for all of them. And we've had a great turnout tonight. 50 people watching on Twitter alone. We've been up and down on YouTube and Instagram. The Real 27 guy just jumped in on Instagram. Nick Uliano on Instagram. Hey guys, good to see you. Mark, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your business model with us, and maybe you'll find a few new clients here through the audience on Sports Cards Live. So thank you, Mark, and over to you for your final, maybe second to final comments.
I want to thank you, Jeremy, for having me, and thank you to all the listeners. And I really appreciate the nice comment. It means a lot.
That's all right, guys. Final comments are coming in. Chef Young Walter says, thanks to both of you. Thank you, Chef Young Walter, for being here. Mark, I was at the Montreal show. Mark was not. Brendan, thank you for saying live stream excellence. Appreciate that. Thank you, Hobby Champs. Great app. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mark Santucci. Yitz says, great listen and can't wait for my FundYourCards card. Yitz, thanks for being here. It was good seeing you at the Montreal Expo last weekend. Rad Ripper still in the chat on Instagram, or maybe you've come in and out. I don't doubt it, but thank you for being here. Really appreciate it, guys. And I want to just remind you, I'm starting to say this more, but please remember this podcast. This show is available on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get or listen to your podcast. Please follow and subscribe for free and leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. I would definitely appreciate that. David Kahana, thank you for being here. All right, that's about it for tonight, guys. Thank you again. I'll be back tomorrow night for the PWCC weekly hockey auction ending watch party. Mark, thanks again, buddy, for coming on. Hope you enjoyed your time here. Thank you, Too Legit to Quit. I see your comment on Instagram. Guys, Mark, say goodbye, and then I'm wrapping it up.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, everybody. This episode of Sports Cards Live for June the 1st, 2024 is now over.